Welcome to Motivating Monday. No matter where you are in the world, I hope Motivating Monday is spurring you on each week. My greetings from Holland, and thank you, brethren, for your continued prayers for my safety as I pray for your continued growth and strength in the Lord. For the next 2 weeks, we will be examining two things that we are called to add to our faith by the Apostle Peter. Let's first read from the passage of 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3 to 7. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 3. According as his divine power has given unto us all things that pertain unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that hath called us to glory and virtue, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these ye might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. Apostle Peter is talking about Christian growth, and note how he writes that we are to give all diligence to add to our faith. Today we will consider the topic of virtue, as read from the earlier passage in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 5. The path of growth from having faith leads us to a life of virtue. And isn't it interesting that this is the first thing that we are to add to our faith as part of our growth path? And yet it is also one of the items that is perhaps more difficult to express in a definition. What exactly is virtue or being virtuous? The word virtue in 2 Peter chapter 1 is translated from the Greek word arete, and is defined as follows: manliness or valor, or excellence, something that can be represented by praise, and that's from Strong's definition. Thayer puts it in a different way. Thayer mentions a virtuous course of thought, feeling, and action, a moral goodness or excellency as modesty and purity. To appreciate better what this means, I would like to invite you to consider the passage of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. The word praises in this passage is translated from the same word arete, and so what we are to be showing forth must be praiseworthy. As Christians, we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood and holy nation, and a peculiar people. We're different, and our virtue is what will set us apart from the darkness. As Christians, we are defined by our demonstrating the virtue, that which is praiseworthy, and this virtue is not of ourselves, but rather of him who has saved us. It is through being virtuous that we can show others how our faith in God has had a transformative effect in our lives. Practically speaking, what then is virtuous and praiseworthy? For this, I will direct us to Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, and whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things that are true or truthful, honest, reverential and honorable, just, innocent, faultless, and rendering each its due, pure, that which is chaste and modest, lovely, that which is acceptable and pleasing, that of a good report, or well spoken of. These are all descriptors of God, the one whose virtue we are to be reflecting. How then can we acquire virtue? May I suggest that we are to do so by continuously surrounding ourselves with virtuous people, and avoiding the company of those who aren't, or the activities that might compromise one's virtue. Psalm chapter 1 verse 1 reminds us about these things. If I may read from that passage of Psalm chapter 1 verse 1, Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Second, we can fill our minds with these things that are virtuous, and not allow others to distract from this. Matthew chapter 12 verse 35 reads, A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. And so, when we fill our minds and our hearts with that which is virtuous, we will have the treasure in our hearts that will demonstrate it. And finally, we can give diligence to do so, with haste, with eagerness, and earnestness. Psalm chapter 1 verse 2 continues from the earlier passage. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. If we are to reflect our Lord and God's virtues, we need to be reflecting day and night and delighting in his law and in his word. On reflection, would we be called virtuous by our peers? Are we showing forth God's attributes in our lives? Would we be called praiseworthy? As we continue to grow, may we strive to add virtue to our faith and to demonstrate it each day as we seek to draw closer to God. God bless you and take care.
Holy and holy.